Donald Trump has just had a big win in court. He stopped Democrat prosecutors from grabbing more than or nearly $500 million American from him and crippling his finances ahead of America's presidential election in November. A Democrat judge had ordered Trump, the Republican candidate, to pay that extraordinary fine, nearly $500 million US, by yesterday, ahead of even Trump's appeal in a decision that actually stinks of partisan politics. Now, this was a fine for Trump allegedly inflating the valuation of his assets when asking banks for a loan, which he actually repaid in full. Trump said there was no way he could find that much money that fast. And now an appeals court has more than halved the amount Trump must pay ahead of his appeal to just 175 million US, or in Australian money, 270. And it's given him another 10 days to find that.
I greatly respect the decision of the appellate division, and I'll post either $175 million in cash or bonds or security or whatever is necessary very quickly within the 10 days. And I thank the appellate division for acting quickly. But Judge Engoron is a disgrace to this country, and this should not be allowed to happen.
Joining me is Sean Spicer, the first White House spokesman when Donald Trump was president. Sean Spicer, thank you so much for your time. This is an important win for Donald Trump.
Well, it is. Not too many people carrying around $500 million in cash. I think people have to recognize, I've had a lot of people in the States saying, oh, if he's so rich, what's the big deal? And I'm like, how many people are rich by keeping cash liquid? You don't stay liquid. You invest it in some place, real estate, bonds, stock. If someone asks for it, you got to sell off a bunch of stuff. And I think while he was on appeal, he didn't want to liquidate, any of the above, property, stocks, bonds, whatever else, because that once you do that, it's going to be devalued. So he recognizes the importance of it, number one. Number two, it's an absurd amount of money for a victimless crime. There is no one who got hurt in this. Banks loaned him money based on an application that he made that they deemed fair. They all got paid back. They're very happy with the money that they got in return, the interest that they got paid. But somehow the state of New York, years later, decides that they need to right this just egregious wrong that no one else saw fit to do, and that no one else in the entire state of New York must be guilty of. You think with all of the things happening in New York, the attorney general there would have a few other things to deal with. But no, going after Donald Trump for something that happened years ago that was completely paid back with satisfied customers, that's where she wants to spend her time.
It's just so extraordinary, Sean. Now, he still faces a massive fine, but for his critics, his haters, choke on this. In the meantime, he's up for an even bigger payday with his new social media platform, Truth Social.
Yeah, look, the initial public offering has this thing valued now, and I'm not good with the exchange rate over there, but now it started off at $3 billion. They're saying upwards of $4 billion US dollars in the US now, and if he holds on to it, I guess there's some additional bonuses. That's a lot to be able to leverage going forward. It's a huge windfall. Forbes actually already came out and moved up his ranking among the world's richest people just on that alone. So he's going to have plenty of cash now to leverage, whether it's a fine or anything else. But he pretty much doubled his wealth in the course of a few hours here.
That will really make his haters choke. The Democrats were thinking to punish him, knock him out of the race, bankrupt him, do anything, and he suddenly is richer than ever. What a joke.
Andrew, think about this for a second. They came at us. I was on the 2016 campaign. They came at us with everything they had on the Russia hoax and trying to undermine that. Then they did the Hunter Biden laptop. This time they said, we're going all out. We're going to throw the kitchen sink at him. We're going to try to take him off the ballot. We're going to come at him criminally, and then we're also going to try to bankrupt him. The ballot thing has failed. He has to be listed on the ballot. They failed on that. So far, the criminal cases don't seem to be working in their favor. And lastly, this idea of bleeding him out, we'll see where this thing ends up. But this victory today in court among the appellate court. Now, remember, these folks on the appellate court, they're not Trump fans by any means either. They're still big Democrats. That just shows you how absurd the lower court ruling was, though.
It sure does. Sean, meanwhile, though, Trump does face these various criminal trials, all launched by Democrat prosecutors. A judge in one of them, and this is the only one that looks like going ahead before the election, has refused to delay the trial for Trump allegedly paying hush money to stripper Stormy Daniels over an alleged affair. And so that's going to go ahead now next month. What is the danger here for Donald Trump?
Well, first of all, let me just back up a second for the viewers to understand this, that this in New York is considered a bookkeeping issue, how he was paying somebody off with the company. Normally, it would be a misdemeanor charge. It would have passed what we have called the statute of limitations, meaning if you don't charge a crime within a certain amount of time, it goes away. You can't go back in time and charge something for happened 10, 15 years ago. It had already passed, but the DA there, Alvin Bragg, combined a bunch of, it's almost like he made his own little recipe of concoctions, trumped it up to a felony, and then retroactively charged him with it. So on its face, it doesn't actually pass the smell test. Nobody else would ever get charged with this. This was specifically to target Trump. And so that being said, why was it delayed? To further make sure everyone understands this, because one of the star witnesses for the defense was Michael Cohen, who used to work for Trump. The Southern District of New York had withheld thousands and thousands of documents that they had pertaining to Michael Cohen, testimony, recordings, et cetera, that they withheld from Trump's team. You cannot do that in a court. That's part of what they call discovery. And the judge said, well, I'll give you a few days now to look over these thousands and thousands of pages of documents against somebody who's going to be testifying against you. But they're going to proceed on April 15th. To get to your question, Andrew, it's never a good thing to be in court and to face charges. I mean, the idea of him actually facing anything substantial, I think even his biggest haters would admit is unlikely. But I would never want to be in court. I would never want to face any charges. It doesn't help with the narrative. Most people in America don't follow things below the headlines. So for a lot of people, they're just they might see a headline because it's New York City. Let's face it. It's not a favorable jury. They would say Trump convicted of X, fill in the blank. That never looks good if you're running for office, but I don't think it'll be anything substantial.
No, but it'll be embarrassing, particularly if he's trying to appeal to religious groups, etc. It will be most embarrassing. But yeah, look, they're trying everything to knock him out before the ballot, and so far he's still standing. And what doesn't kill you, Sean, makes you stronger.
Look, I'm telling you, Andrew, you're right, though. This is a guy who has only grown stronger the more they throw at him. And I think they're ruining, they thought they had this foolproof plan to come at him on a multi-pronged effort, and it's done nothing but take people who might not otherwise support Trump and say, you know what, they really are trying to get him, and I'm going to be with them now.
I think that's absolutely right. Sean Spicer, thanks for your time.
You bet, Andrew.